YouTube. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of What You Talking About. I'm your host Supercurt. This is my main man and co-host Jmac.
What's good, YouTube?
And we got the great Ricky G on the line.
What's up, Austin, Texas?
Yes,
And
sir.
today we're gonna bring you the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL 2012 season.
We'll let Ricky G start off with that. What you got, Rick?
Actually, I think it's a mutual consensus between anybody that you talk to about any type of receiver in the NFL. I got Calvin Johnson, Megatron, as my number one. He had 1,681 yards last season on 96 receptions, so I mean that's a really good percentage. You know, he's 17 yards a catch basically, and he had 16 touchdowns. Definitely Matt Stafford's go-to guy, so definitely my number one. My number two, it's kind of tough because I kind of sway towards one receiver. I really like him a lot, but I had to go ahead and use this guy just because he had kind of an off season. Larry Fitzgerald.
Okay.
Last season he had 1,400 yards receiving. I mean, don't get it twisted. He did have a good season, actually a great season. But I mean, it just wasn't Larry Fitzgerald. You really didn't see him lighting up the highlight reel or just doing his thing out there. I think it was strictly off the quarterback situation. So hopefully whoever gets started, will be able to do that. My number three, Andre Johnson, got hurt. Only played 7 games last year, but him and Matt Schaub together, they're beast mode. You know what I'm saying? So I can't really count that out. I really like Andre Johnson. That's what I was kind of having trouble with Larry Fitzgerald. So that's my number three. My number four is kind of a toss-up too. I was kind of on the edge just because had some people step up last season. I mean, it could have gone to anybody, but I had to go ahead and go with Wes Welker. I like Wes Welker a lot. He kind of can play any position, any wide receiver player. He plays a slot. He plays on the outside, go deep, do a short route. I mean, he had a little bit of trouble in the Super Bowl. Shout out to my Giants. He missed that catch, but it's all good. I think he's still an elite receiver, or actually coming up to an elite receiver. And if you utilize correctly, he'll have the same number of stats, same whatever next year, And my number five, I was kind of torn between these two. I like one guy, but I'm about to go with Steve Smith. Okay. Steve Smith's amazing receiver, produces every single year. Even without a good quarterback, he's always putting up the numbers. He had 1,300 yards last season, 7 TDs on 79 receptions. So be on the lookout for Steve Smith. Cam Newton's only getting better, and that's my top 5, yo.
Right on, right on. Yours and mine don't differ too much, actually. I got Megatron number one, like you said, 1,681 yards, 16 touchdowns. I remember one play in particular last year. He was in the end zone covered by 2 people, literally just standing there in one spot, kind of threw his hand up in the air. Stafford threw it up the ball, and he came down with it. The dude's a beast. He has incredible hands. He's blessing us with the cover of Madden this year. So the fans obviously like him. I got him as my number one. Andre Johnson is my number two, actually. I put Larry Fitzgerald as the next spot for me. But Andre Johnson, like you mentioned, with him and Matt Schaub put together, it's quite the duo in Houston there. If they were able to play the entire season last year, I think Houston would have made a lot more noise going into the playoffs and everything. Larry Fitzgerald, like I mentioned, is my number three. The dude is just established. If it wasn't for the quarterback situation last year, he would have had well over 1,400 yards, because even with that, he had 1,400 yards. Dude's incredible, extremely fast, and he can jump out any kind of roof, any kind of gym. Dude's incredible. Steve Smith is my number four. And I love Steve. He's actually my favorite receiver in the NFL right now, other than Calvin Johnson. I've always been a huge fan of Steve Smith. It's his size, man. The dude is 5'9", 5'10", maybe. And the dude can jump over anybody. The dude's extremely fast. Him and Cam Newton put together, extremely strong. I remember he got into a fight last year. He threw that dude on the ground, no problem. He's such a small dude, but he comes with a heavy punch. Dude's incredible to me. My number 5 was a toss-up for me. This is where it kind of got a little rough for me. It's between Greg Jennings and Wes Welker. Like Rick said, I don't need to say any more than what Rick already said about Wes. That dude can play any wide receiver position. Slot, deep, short, curl, you name it, fade route. He's got hands, and he's extremely fast. And Greg Jennings, him and Aaron Rodgers together, I had him on my fantasy team last year. He gave me mad points. The dude's really good. He's actually pretty much at the precipice of his career right now. I think he's pretty much at the top of it. Very, very good receiver. I think those are my top 5 right there, 5A, 5B for Greg Jennings and Wes Welker.
See, I like that. I like your list. I like Rick's list. Mine's kind of the same. I have a different spot in 3, and I think y'all might find that kind of interesting. But 1, I got Calvin Johnson, like y'all said, 1,681 yards, 16 touchdowns, which is, man, that's like the big number right there. 16 touchdowns. He's a beast. He's pretty much unguardable on the field. He get off the break easy. You know what I mean? He's the best receiver in the NFL.
Don't try to bump and run him.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You can't bump and run him.
I think he's the best. Second, I agree with Jason. I got Andre Johnson. He still managed to get almost 500 yards last year. Being hurt, had 2 touchdowns. Him and Matt Schaub are gonna, they're gonna get together. I think it's gonna be good. Houston's gonna make that playoff push. I don't see them getting there. I see some other teams being a little bit better.
In that division, they're the favorite though. In that division.
Yeah, I just see as far as like winning the division.
Right.
I mean, I see New England coming out, winning the whole.
Well, that's
AFC,
a conference. The division, AFC South.
Right.
They got the AFC South.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But third, this is where it's gonna get crazy for me. I got a receiver who didn't play last year. And I got Randy Moss coming in.
Okay.
I got Randy Moss in my third. Purely off what he's done before, I think Randy Moss still has a lot left in him. I think he's, as far as his NFL being used up, getting hit, tackled, he hadn't sustained a lot of tackles, a lot of punishment. When he went to New England, I'm just going to give you his 4 years in New England. He got them 3,900 yards, 50 touchdowns. 50 touchdowns in 4 years in New England.
That's 25 touchdowns a year.
That's 25
that's a quarter a year.
And that's when he was trying, Now he got traded, went back to Minnesota, to Tennessee, and I think his feelings were hurt. He was like, I did so much, y'all couldn't even.
Yeah, you couldn't treat me right.
You couldn't treat me right. You couldn't give me a big deal. What's up with that?
Right.
I think he didn't feel respected. I think he didn't want to play anymore.
Had a little bit of a pout in him.
Right.
Pouted a little bit.
Yeah, and he does that.
And he does.
And he said this time that he appreciated San Francisco for giving him his chance to be in the NFL again. I think he's going to have these amazing stats again. I still think he's unguardable when he wants to be.
Right.
I still think he's probably one of the fastest and best hands in the NFL. So I got him as my third. Fourth, I got Wes Welker. He came in with 1,569 yards last year with 9 touchdowns.
A tiny dude.
Tiny guy. I think it's mainly part of his system, but I do give him his props. I do think he's a really good receiver. I think his numbers will be pretty much the same next year with having Tom Brady. I don't see him dropping off too much, so I got him as my fourth. I got Fitzgerald coming in as my fifth, with the Greg Jennings being right there. It was close, but he's splitting with so many other people in Green Bay. Jermichael Finley from Texas, other guys on the flag that's going to be running right beside him on the corner. I can't think of his name right now. Sorry about that. But yeah, I got Fitzgerald as my fifth, and that's how that's going to shake out for me.
The one thing I forgot to mention about Wes Welker that kind of, I kind of forgot about it myself, is the way he runs his routes. The dude gets people turning around all the time, man. His cuts are extremely on point. He takes the right amount of steps and cuts off, and the defender doesn't even know he's doing it because he's that fast and that quick on those cuts. So his route running is probably second to none in the league, actually. That dude's pretty good at it.
Excellent route.
Yeah.
Hey guys, you think I can tell you a little bit of sleepers?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, check out for Brandon Marshall, man. He's linking back up with Jay Cutler. They got that, history together. So that might be a little something. Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace has been coming up real good for the Steelers, and I think, a lot of y'all have Ben Roethlisberger in y'all's top quarterback. So I mean, he has a top quarterback thrown to him. He's already, a prototypical receiver. Got hands, proven. So Mike Wallace is another big guy, and let's see if there's going to be some consistency here. And I got to rep my Giants. So Victor Cruz, he had 1,536 yards last year. 18 yards a catch. I'm just saying.
I was going to say, I knew you were going to throw out Victor Cruz.
Cruz is good. I had him on my fantasy team last year. A lot of people didn't know about him. I thought he was going to make a little bit of noise. He did.
Made more than a little bit, man. You make a splash, man, for sure. But
and I also wanted to say, Carson Palmer's going to make those young receivers in Oakland a lot better, y'all. Watch out for those cats that are coming up.
I don't know, man. I don't trust Carson Palmer.
I never have really myself. I have a thing against USC quarterbacks.
Wait, Matt Leinart. Where's he
out?
Yeah,
Mark Sanchez, he's a starter, but is he really that good?
Right,
no. Carson Palmer had a good career. His numbers are pretty good, but all graduated from USC, and I've always considered USC quarterbacks to be somewhat overrated. I don't knock their talent because I think they're all good, obviously capable of playing in the NFL. But they never really stood out the way they did in college and the way they thought they would in the NFL. So, but I don't argue with what you're saying. Carson Palmer is definitely an upgrade from what they did have at quarterback. So I don't see him getting any worse for sure. But recently, a couple boxing matches happened recently. Amir Khan and Manny Pacquiao. We're going to go into trainers pretty much, and what the question is, who's the best trainer coming off Freddie Roach losing his last 2 fights? Technically, his fighters lost. So, who would you consider the best trainer in boxing right now, Rick?
I'm going to have to go with Roger Mayweather. That's just my own opinion. He's got the undefeated fighter, multiple champion, different weight classes, Olympic medalist. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, Roger Mayweather, he's got it, dude. He's got a little talent right there. His name is Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that to me seals it right there. I mean, nobody's been able to beat him. He's been the best boxer in my generation that I've seen.
Right.
So that's just my opinion. Number 2, I probably have to say Daniel Stewart. I'm just playing with that. I like Emmanuel Stewart, but Freddie Roach probably a second, and then Emmanuel Stewart after that.
I beg to differ with Roger Mayweather. As much as I see where you're coming from, he's a great trainer, has the best boxer in the world, and that doesn't hurt to have the best boxer in the world as your fighter. He was his dad trained him when he was younger, so he kind of already had a level that Roger maybe didn't have to go all over him with. So, but mine is still Freddie Roach actually. Even though he lost the last 2 fights he trained for, he lost the first one. Pacquiao, everybody saw it and it got reviewed. Pacquiao did win that fight. It wasn't what anybody really thought it was. I thought it was gonna be a rollover for Pacquiao. So, I think he needs to do a little bit more with his training aspect with Pacquiao. He needs to figure out some different things with him because it didn't seem like he was on his game. In the last fight, it wasn't anything that Freddie Roach did that for Amir Khan to get caught. The punches were good. Everything up to that point, you could tell the training was great with him up until he got caught. Now, the one thing that he messed up on was in the corner. He did not do enough. He, squirted water in his face, rubbed his head, rubbed his legs. I would have really woke him up, slapped him in the face a couple times. I would have had to get his head back in the game, but it was just, he was really calm, which is, at the same time is good. You don't want to worry your fighter when you're in the corner, but I think he still should have done more. But Freddie Roach, on the backdrop of having Parkinson's on top of all this, dude is a great trainer. He knows the ins and outs of boxing. I would have to go with Roger Mayweather for second. I'm not going to argue with that for sure. And the main reason he trains Floyd Mayweather undefeated, he comes with a game plan, and Floyd Mayweather does it every time. Third would be Emmanuel Stewart. I'm not even a fan of Emmanuel Stewart, honestly. I think he's kind of fallen off as a trainer. He only trains Vladimir Klitschko, really.
His fighters have lost that he's been training.
A lot of fighters have lost, and not only that, a lot of fighters that were trained by him actually dropped him. Like Cotto was his most recent one as far as a big fighter. Supposed to have him for that last fight that Cotto had with Mayweather. Changed it, or not the Mayweather fight, but the previous fight, excuse me. Emmanuel Stewart was his trainer up until that point, fired him and went with a different trainer. It doesn't seem like Emmanuel Stewart is up on his game with training lately. I think he's more going into the commentating, the more talking on boxing, and training the Klitschko brother Vladimir. And he's going to ride with that until Vladimir retires for sure, because I think they have a good bond. But yeah, my number 1 would definitely be Freddie Roach still, I think.
See,
I see that.
I kind of disagree with both of y'all. I thought about this, topic. I was like, who's the best? I wanted to go with Roger because Floyd was undefeated.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it, and I was like, well, Freddie Roach used to have 2, champion fighters, so they had belts. But then I thought about it, and I was like, I think it really boils down to the fighter and how much heart the fighter has, what style the fighter fights. I think a trainer can help you out if he's like savvy on leading up to the fight. But as far as when the fight's going on, I don't think a trainer can help you too much.
You can only do so much for sure.
Yeah, I think if you're like, if you're not, if he's like, hey, this is what the game plan is, this is what we worked on in camp. If it's not going right for the fighter, you can't make him do it when the fight's going on unless you have a bond with a trainer like Roger Mayweather, their family.
Right.
So you can actually tell your family some shit you can't.
You can't really necessarily tell somebody.
You know what I mean? So it's easier to train your family than it is another fighter from off the street.
Right.
I think that helps them in their fighting. He can be like, Floyd, you need to do this, man. Trust me. Just try it. Even if you do lose, try this. It worked for me. Floyd would believe him before another fighter would be like, all right, man, I ain't going to lose to this.
Right.
And, you know what I mean? So it was just hard. I'm just going to go with the heart of the fighter, man. I'm not going to go with
not really necessarily a trainer. I see where you're coming from for sure. Definitely, I can't argue with that. The one thing about Roger, it seems like in the corner, he doesn't even give him a game plan necessarily. For one, Mayweather's technically, he's always pretty much winning in general. But his game plan is knock this motherfucker out.
Yeah, keep doing that shit
keep
right
on doing that. Keep on doing what you're doing, baby. That's what he's more of a motivator than a trainer. But when you see him in training, Man, you can tell they go to work. They go to work for sure.
Yeah,
So, you know, I definitely feel it, but I see where you're coming from with it. I think a trainer's still valuable, just like a head coach is valuable.
Right.
It's the same concept. You can't make that game plan happen, but you can put it in their head like, this is what we want to do. And during the breaks and during the rounds, you can tell them, why aren't you doing this? Wake up. You know, you can be that motivator more than anything.
Right. Maybe this will be a topic for next show, but what's the most overrated like head coaching position? Is it like a trainer? Is it a head coaching in football, basketball, offensive coordinator? Right. You know what I mean? What is it? Man. Like, you know, there's so many sports out there that they're like, man, the coach came down to this. It could be like you know, maybe like, I would go with quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like quarterbacks, they're supposedly like the leader, the heart of the team, you know what I mean? But how come that's not always the case in, you know, lower level football? Maybe it's because higher level football pushes the win so quickly. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Maybe that's a topic for another day.
It's a good question, though, for sure. I think we definitely should have to bring that up sometime. Definitely. But recent NBA news, it's been told that the Lakers are actually on the precipice of getting Dwight Howard. It was rumored that originally that Dwight Howard said that he would not sign an extension with them. Well, word is today that he actually said he would sign an extension, but the Lakers haven't heard that from him. That's a report coming out from a website. I saw it on ESPN earlier today. But pretty much the question is, if that happened, there'll be Nash, Antoine Jameson just signed with the Lakers, Kobe Bryant, and Dwight Howard. Is that team pushing for an NBA title next year? What do you think, Kurt?
I think so, man. They're going to be right up there in the Western Conference with Oklahoma City. I see them with more experience than Oklahoma City, and I think that would push Oklahoma City right out of that #1 spot to the #2 spot. I see them with the addition of Jameson being right up there with the Spurs and Nash. I mean, Jameson and Nash being right up there with the Spurs, you know, for that second spot. You know what I mean? I think they'll push the Spurs right out of that second spot with the age. And Tim Duncan signed, but you know what I mean? How effective will he be next year?
82-game season next year. So
right. So
I agree.
I see the Lakers right up there.
I completely agree. If they get Howard, that's the best foursome in the NBA, period. Right. Hands down, there's no question about it. Got one of the best point guards, pure point guards in the league still, no matter if he's 36, 38. I don't care how old he is. Steve Nash is a champ when it comes to running the point guard. The dude can ball. He can shoot, he can dribble, he knows how to roll that pick and roll. He's patient with the ball. He doesn't get ripped. The only liability for him is on defense. Yeah. Kobe Bryant still, to me, is I think he's still the best player in the league. Dude is deadly. Black Mamba, you know, he hits the shots. He's still cold. Then you got Antoine Jameson. What can I say other than he's a 20-point, 8-rebound career player. Last year, 17 points and 6 rebounds.
And that's underrated, man. I mean,
highly.
Just because a lot of guys are getting like 20 and 10 easier now, but 20 and 8 is, man, that's
and
right there.
We're talking about 28 career.
For career.
That's a consistency. That's what you want is consistency. And if you get Dwight Howard, oh man, Steve Nash and Howard rolling on the pick and roll, can you imagine what kind of dunker? Forget Lob City and the other part of LA as far as the Clippers. Lob City is going to be Nash and Dwight Howard all day long. I think they're going to. I think they have. If they get Howard, they have definitely put themselves as a favorite in the West, followed by Oklahoma City and the Spurs. And then the Mavericks also. Mavericks have made some decent moves actually recently too. Yeah, Lakers hands down will become favorites with Dwight Howard. What do you think about that, Rick? What's your opinion?
I say call it a Philly because it's a wrap.
All right.
They're going to smoke the competition. You know what I'm saying? They're going to blow everybody out the water for at least 1 or 2 years, maybe even 3. I'm giving them 3 actually, in my opinion. And you had Dwight Howard to that, Kobe to Steve Nash, and depending on how things roll out, they might even be able to keep Gasol. Maybe work it out. I doubt it. But hey,
Gasol is actually not even. Gasol is staying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Rumor, he's staying. Gasol is still there. Bynum's the only one leaving.
They'll be kind of probably working all that out the first couple of weeks.
Only lose Bynum and maybe like 1 or 2 role players. It's a wrap, dude.
Yeah.
That's over. Nobody can match that at all.
Yeah. Because what the deal is a 3-team trade. Howard goes to the Lakers. Bynum goes to the Cavs, and Verjao and picks go to the Orlando Magic. Yeah. So it's essentially a straight up pick, Howard for Bynum for the Lakers, because that's what it works out for. But Bynum ends up in Cleveland.
Magic's getting pretty good. Verjao's good, man.
I like Verjao.
You know what I mean?
I like Verjao.
Nice.
That dude's a hustler, man. I remember I picked him up on my fantasy team last year, and everybody, including this man that just said he was cold, was clowning me. The dude was good until he got injured. The dude was a double-double every night, double-double. I call him Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons with his wild hair. Yeah. But the dude, he's a hustler, man. So, I agree. They'll definitely come up with Verjao down there in Orlando.
Yeah, I think
definitely agree.
Yeah, I think that would be a good thing.
Well, yeah, like I said, man, it's over if they get Howard. I mean, the Heat are the only people that could probably contend with that right now. And even then, like,
It's
they
the
don't
big
got
man.
nobody
They don't have a
close
big
like
man
that.
to guard Howard.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You know, Bosch
or a point
Bosch
guard.
might try. I mean, Howard. One thing about Howard, he doesn't have any low post moves.
Nah, you don't.
42% of his
Points.
field goal percentage
Okay.
was dunks. So I mean, he doesn't have any moves, but I mean, with Steve Nash lobbing it to you, really don't need too many moves.
Exactly.
He's a
Lob
defensive
City
presence.
Because I give that Lob City. I wouldn't call the Clippers Lob City no more.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Actually, if Oklahoma had a Dwight Howard, I think Oklahoma would have won the series just off keeping LeBron out of the paint.
Right.
You know what I mean? Wade out of the paint.
The defensive presence for Howard is just going to make it the biggest difference for the Lakers. Bynum was good, but he's not a Howard when it comes to defense. For one, Bynum takes days off, not just games. He takes days off, like practice, according to what the rumors are. Sometimes he doesn't even play in practice. So it's kind of one of he needs to grow up a little bit, and Howard's already had that maturity. I think he's a little bit of a clown, so he likes to have fun.
Yeah,
but when it comes to game time, he's not going to take a play off. So I love the trade if the Lakers get him. Love it.
Agreed.
All right, guys. Well, this segment of the show is called "Are You Kidding Me?" Rick, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll go ahead, man. So check this out. I was checking out this news thing and everything, and 55 years ago today, they had this story, right? 6 U.S. Army officers, 5 of which volunteered. The cameraman didn't. Apparently, he actually kind of bought it and didn't want to and argued, and he got in trouble for it. But they volunteered to stand directly underneath a mid-air nuclear explosion to test its relative safety to civilians in a combat zone. That's not the kicker, though, y'all. They lived to talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
What?
They lived to talk about it. Some of them died from cancer, like later on in the years, and they found out that it was for, it was from the radiation from the blast. But, all I can say is, are you kidding me?
To even do that, man, that's
under
crazy.
a nuclear explosion, y'all. Come on now.
Crazy.
That's fucking crazy. They didn't have no arms blowed off or nothing.
Man,
What the fuck?
that's some wild
No,
stuff,
they
man.
didn't have anything, just radiation. That was it.
Good
That's
lord,
crazy.
man.
They got some balls though.
No
I'll
kidding.
tell you that. You have to have some fucking balls.
Oh, yeah, shit. The
Massive.
video, and
Ain't
the
no
dudes
joke.
are commentating like, oh my god, the bomb just exploded. It's bright, it's loud, it's cloudy. Like, they were just saying that, all that, like, describing it. And I don't know, you might be able to find it on YouTube. Might check it out.
Man, I might have to
Right
check
now.
that out, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is fucking crazy.
That is pretty crazy, man. My Are You Kidding Me involves a gentleman named Martin Tucker. He's actually a professional boxer. This happened in Temperance, Michigan over the weekend, apparently. Had a fight, and then a couple days later decided to go rob a bank. And how he got caught was because in the fight he got a bloody nose, the cotton swabs and everything were used for DNA, along with the mask that he left somewhere, what had blood in it as well because his nose started bleeding during the robbery. Are you kidding me? You got a messed up nose, you're going to leave your bloody mask, knowing that you have cotton swabs that are probably held in a plastic bag somewhere for the trainers and everything for DNA testing for steroids and shit like that at the end of it? Dude, what are you thinking, man? Come on. You just had a boxing match, and that's all you got was, it looks like $5,400 in the robbery. Now you're going to prison. Are you kidding me?
Fucking going to prison 5 years or so, man. Wasting your fucking life. What the hell?
But he was 1-6 in his last 7 fights in boxing, so maybe he was hard up, maybe he thought this was the only way to go. But if you're gonna do it, man, put something in your nose to stop the bleeding, man. Don't be walking around with a bloody mask.
All right, guys. Well, what I got is it's a crazy story. It's rare that people save other people's lives. I've been lucky enough to do it. It didn't happen. It's nothing you plan or anything like that. This guy, his name is Deng. It's not Luau Deng from the Chicago Bulls, but this guy Deng in China, he decided, he saw some people drowning, and he was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna step up to the call. I'm gonna run out there and I'm gonna save this family that I see drowning. He ran out there. He saved the family, the little girl, the mother and child. Saved both of them. Brought them all back in. But on his way back in, he had to swim back out one more time to get one more person. He swam them farther enough to get back in to where they can swim back in and make it. But on his way back in, he was so tired from saving all the people, he started to drown. And he started to drown, and the family he saved got off, started walking off, and they said, it's none of my business. And walked off, let the guy drown. Are you fucking kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
Are
Dude.
you kidding me?
You didn't have to jump in, but to walk away
Yeah, walk
and say
away.
it's none of my business.
They didn't even see that. They didn't wait to see even see if he drowned. You know, the
He
guy
just-
died. He died, drowned. You know, the family walked away. They drove away. You know what I mean?
Oh my
They
god.
said it's none of my damn business. He just saved all their fucking lives.
And then,
Lost his life. They couldn't even fucking save him. That's fucking crazy.
man,
I think
Wow.
that's just.
that's messed up.
I just think
mean,
that's so messed up.
Completely messed up.
Yeah, I think so.
That's terrible.
And I got one more thing to say. One more Are You Kidding Me shout out. Shout out to Des Bryant. Are you kidding me? You ain't supposed to hit your mom like that.
Me and Kurt were talking about that earlier. Yeah, you don't hit your moms,
Are
man.
you
You
kidding?
do
No
not hit
matter
your
what.
moms.
You don't hit females. You never hit your fucking mom.
Yeah.
No matter what the hell she does. No matter what.
Never.
What are you thinking?
Yeah. Are you kidding me, Des? Wake up, man.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us on this show. Tune in next week when we give you top 5
Next week gonna be tight ends.
tight ends in the NFL 2012 season. Thanks for watching the show, guys.
Appreciate it, y'all. Stay easy.
Yeah, see y'all later, y'all.
And that's the guy I know. All right, wait.
Yeah.
Tip up.